Hello students and welcome to the session. So students, as we know that we have started the static part of various topics and we have covered till general science physics section, and in the previous section we had started the chemistry part. So in this lecture we are going to continue with the chemistry part. So let's start. So first we are going to talk about the chemical names. The chemical names. As we know that, and if we don't know, then we will get to know that chemistry is all about study of chemicals. Chemistry is all about study of chemicals. Okay, so it is very, very important from the examination point of view that you must be aware about some chemical names which are of very common uses. Okay, so the chemicals which are of very common uses, we must be aware about by their names. And if we are not, then it's a weak point for us from the examination point of view. So now we are going to talk about these chemicals names. Okay, so let's first start with the washing soda. First start with the washing soda, which we use in our common households. So it is basically the sodium carbonate. And if you remember in the previous lecture, I had told you one thing, that soaps are basically salts of sodium. Alright, and as we know that soaps are basically salts of fatty acids. Salts are basically the soap of fatty acids, right? So first we are talking about the washing soda. So washing soda having the chemical name is sodium carbonate and its formula is NO2CO3. Okay, thereafter we having the baking soda. So baking soda having the common name of, or you can say the chemical name, it's sodium bicarbonate. So there is just simple and very slight difference. If the name is given of sodium carbonate, then we are talking about washing soda. Okay, but if we put sodium bicarbonate, then basically we are talking about baking soda. Right? Alright, so just remember this difference. Okay, when it's only the carbonate, washing soda. When it is a bio in front of the carbonate, then it's a baking soda. Alright, thereafter, third we have the bleaching powder. So the bleaching powder having its name as calcium hypochlorite and the general formula is CaOCl2. Okay, whereas the baking soda's formula is NaHCO3. Alright, thereafter we have the quicklime. It is also known as calcium oxide, okay, with a general formula of CaO. Alright. Thereafter, now we have the gypsum. Gypsum is also known as natural calcium sulfate, okay, with the general formula of CaSO4H2O. Thereafter, we have the marble. It is known as the calcium carbonate with a general formula of CaCO3. Alright. So here we have come to know about some common names. Now let's move forward. Now we have the another terms. First is a plaster of Paris, which is also known as calcium sulfate. Now come to this side. Here when we are talking about calcium sulfate, then we have two calcium sulfate. First is natural calcium sulfate. Second one is our calcium sulfate. One is a natural calcium sulfate, second one is a calcium sulfate. Now my question is, what is the difference in between? So when we're talking about the natural calcium sulfate, basically we're talking about the gypsum. But when we are talking about the calcium sulfate and calcium sulfate only, then it is a plaster of Paris. It is a plaster of Paris. And if we look at the general formulas, then Natural calcium sulfate having the formula is CaSO4H2O, whereas the calcium sulfate having its formula is CaSO4. Alright, I hope now you have got the difference. Thereafter, now we have vinegar with the common name of acetic acid, okay, with general formula of CH3CO2H, okay. It is the general formula. It is also known as ethanoic acid. Ethanoic acid, okay. And what we use in ethanoic acid process? Basically, we use ethanol to be reacted with first thing which we have is a sulfuric acid, okay, sulfuric acid, and the second thing we have is second one is our potassium dichromate. All right, so we basically use sulfuric acid and the potassium dichromate together with ethanol to prepare the ethanoic acid, and 2 to 7% of ethanoic acid in water is basically known as vinegar or the acetic acid. All right, thereafter we have jeweler's roch, which is the ferric oxide with the general formula of Fe2O3. Thereafter, we having the heavy water named as deuterium oxide. So basically, just remember the heavy water is basically used for moderator in nuclear power plants. Okay, so basically, the heavy water is used in the nuclear power plant as a moderator. Let's understand the working so that you can get a better picture. Suppose, whenever you're passing through some nuclear power plant, okay, you must have noticed these chimney-like structures, right? So these are basically known as reactors, okay? In these reactors, the nuclear reaction, or you can say the nuclear fission, is happening, okay? And the fuel we are using for nuclear fission is uranium U-235, okay? So basically, in these reactor channels, in these reactors, basically the nuclear fission process is going on, okay, which simply means that a large nucleus will be divided into smaller nucleus and the process will go on further, and due to this disintegration, the large amount of energy will be produced, which is known as the nuclear energy, okay, which is used for further energy productions. All right, but what's happened when this entire process is going on? So these reactor gets heat up. These reactor gets heat up. So to cool down them, we generally use what? Heavy water. Then we use heavy water to cool down the moderator. All right. Why? If the moderator does not cool down and the if the reactor does not cool down and the reactor is solid, okay, so what will happen? The atoms of this solid structure will be set free or will do movement because of the increasing temperature as a result of increasing kinetic energy, as a result of decreasing intermolecular force. All right, so that's why we basically use heavy water, okay. So this is the process which I have explained you. All right, thereafter, now we have the formula of heavy water is 2H2O or D2O. Both are the formulas of deuterium oxide, okay. Thereafter, we have the dry ice, which is the solid carbon dioxide. It is basically you have seen many times in barber shops. In barber shops, okay, whenever you go for shaving and some other treatments on your face and you got a cut, okay, so many times you have seen that the barber rubbed some ice structure on your face to cool it down or to resolve the irritations happening to you after that cut, okay. So this icy like structure is also known as the dry ice with the common, also known as, sorry, this icy structure is known as the dry ice with the chemical name is solid carbon dioxide with the general formula of CO2, okay. Basically CO2 present in the gaseous form, it is a gas, but when it converted into solid form, it is known as solid ice or dry ice basically, okay. Thereafter we have aqua regia, which is known as nitrohydrochloric acid. Nitrohydrochloric acid, basically you can say the aqua regia is generally used where? In jeweler shops to melt down gold, okay. So aqua regia basically used in the jeweler shop to melt down gold and other precious metals. All right. Similarly, the plaster of Paris is basically used for plasters of fractures. Okay, whenever you met some accident, okay, and whenever anyone of your known met some accident, so if they broken their bones, then you know that the doctor do some plasters, okay. These plasters are basically solid form of plaster of Paris. All right, so the plaster of Paris is also used for plaster of fractures. Got it? Thereafter, now we are going to talk about the uses of some chemicals. So the first one is a ammonium nitrate. It is commonly used in explosive devices and fertilizers. So the fertilizers which we using in the agricultural field, are made up of ammonium nitrate. And why we use the fertilizers? So basically the fertilizers are of two types: organic or inorganic. Okay, so the organic fertilizers are made up of cow dung generally, okay, and the inorganic are made up of ammonium nitrate. Okay, so you can say the soil on which the agriculture is going on, the crops required so many nutrients to be grown in a proper manner. But what happened? The soil generally are not able to provide all the required nutrients and required conditions. So that's why we use the artificial conditions to provide nutrients to soil. And these artificial nutrients are coming from the fertilizers, which is again divided into two forms: the organic, generally made of cow dung, and the inorganic, generally made of ammonium nitrate. Okay, so basically the organic ones are always safer for the humans, but having limited scope in terms of time period and instant result. Okay, but organic ones are harmful for human beings sometimes because they having some side effects, but they having two great advantages. First, they could be prepared easily. Second, they having the instant results. All right, and generally they carry on the ammonium nitrate. Second thing is that ammonium nitrate is also used in explosive, and basically it is a explosive form of chemical. Okay, I am going to give you an example of it, how dangerous it could be. Most of you maybe heard or maybe not. This is a Beirut. which is the capital of which country? Lebanon. Okay. Basically, what happened on that time? In the year of 2021, Lebanon coast, or you can say the Beirut coast, basically they stopped some ships which were carrying the ammonium nitrates in them. Okay. And because of some inauthentic or unauthentic process and whatever the reasons were there, these ships got stuck at Beirut, okay, with tons of ammonium nitrate. Okay, there was tons of ammonium nitrate stored on that ships which got stuck in the Beirut coast. Okay, then what happened? Due to some initiations and whatever was happening, the news is still not clear. I'm telling you, okay, many reports have been shared on the social media and the news forms, but still the reason is not so clear. Okay, some explosion happened on that ships. Okay, and this ammonium nitrate caused nearly about 3 to 5 kilometers range blows. Okay, so you can say if the ammonium nitrate was stored here, due to this blast, about 3 to 5 kilometer of radius, it caused destruction, a heavy destruction. So now you can understand how dangerous it is to be stored as raw material in the backyards. Okay, so that's why you can say ammonium nitrate is very, very crucial chemical when it's come to the explosives and the fertilizers. All right. You can also check, it's my personal advice to you, you can check the Beirut incidents to get a better picture of it and you will understand what I'm saying. Okay. Thereafter, if we come to the sodium thiosulfate, then it is used as a fixing agent in photography and also for washing as a germicide. Okay. So if the question asks you in the exam, like which chemical is used as a fixing agent in photography, the answer is sodium thiosulfate. Okay. Thereafter, the silver iodide, basically it is used in the cloud seeding, or you can say as a artificial rain. Okay. And basically it is very famous in the Middle East countries. All right. So basically the Middle East countries, which are generally of the desert origins, okay, they having high temperatures and nearly no rainfall. Okay, so what the government do? The government generally used silver iodide, okay, and spread it in the clouds with help of aircrafts. Okay, so they generally take the aircrafts flying over the cities, okay, and spreading the silver iodide in the cloud. So silver iodide basically help the clouds to get condensed and start raining. Okay, so that's how the artificial rain conduct. Okay, let me show the diagram so that you can understand it better. Like these were your clouds formations. Okay, this was your city. This was your city. Okay, and now you can see there is almost no rainfall happening, but the temperature is high and no sign of rainfall. So what you did, again there is a city like this. So what you did, you start cloud seeding, okay, with the help of an aircraft like this one. Okay, you start cloud seeding. Okay, in the clouds. If these were the clouds, you starting cloud seeding or spreading the silver iodide in the clouds, then what will happen? Again, this is your city. Okay, because of the condensation, these blue clouds will convert into black clouds, and when they condense, the water vapor will convert into the water droplets and your rain will start. Okay, so this is the scenario in which the silver iodide is using. First, we have the condition like the high temperature is there but almost no rainfall. Then we use the silver iodide. It's spreading in the clouds with the help of aircraft. Silver iodide turn the clouds into the condensed form, and when they condense, the water vapor converted into water droplets, and then rain started. Okay, so this is the diagram. Now you can check it. All right, and if you want to make it, you can make it. I am giving 15 seconds for it. Your time starts now. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. Time's up. Now let's move forward. Thereafter, we have the potassium dicarbonate and sulfuric acid used in breath test to check the drunken driver. Okay, many times you have seen the cops or police. Okay, this generally uses some drunk test. Okay, they generally stopped you and they generally give you a box like structure and they ask you to breathe in it. Okay, generally it's happened, and when you breathe, then they take some test and they show the values to you, and if the value is generally high, the certain value, like it is 30 ml of alcohol on 100 gram of blood. Okay, so if you are drunk that you having only 30 ml on your 100 gram of blood, you could be saved. But if this value is crossed, then you will have to face some charges and the actions from the police and the authorities because you have violated the drinking test. Okay, thereafter, now we have the Teflon. It is a chemical with non-stick cookware is coated. All right, now let's move forward. Now we have phosphorus using manufacturing of matches. This is also the explosive material. Phosphorus is also the explosive material and it is basically used in manufacturing of matchboxes. How? Let me show you. If this is your matchbox, okay, this is your matchbox, AYC or XYZ, you can say. It is a matchbox of XYZ company. Okay, then you must have seen that on the sidelines of this matchbox, there is a structure like this, right? On which you are required to rub the matchstick. And then the matchstick will start to glow or start to having a fire. Okay, so this brown surface on which you are rubbing the matchstick, it is basically the phosphorus. Okay, and also the stick top is also the phosphorus. Okay, so this is the use of phosphorus in the matchboxes. Okay, thereafter, now we have the chlorine. So chlorine is basically used to clarify water as a disinfectant. If some of you have visited the swimming pools, then you must have noticed that after some time, your eyes get red. Okay, and get irritation also. This is happening because of the chlorine. All right. Thereafter, there we have the oxalic acid. Basically, it is used to remove rust stains from the clothes. All right. Thereafter, all right. Now, let's move forward. So now we have the aqua regia. So basically, aqua regia, we have discussed the aqua regia. It is basically used in the jeweler shop. Okay. And what was chemical name? Its chemical name is nitric hydrochloric acid. It is its chemical name. Okay. And it is the chemical in which gold dissolves. Okay. So basically we could say like gold is generally very resistant metal. Very resistant metal. Resistant. Yeah, resistant metal. Okay. So it generally does not react with chemicals, other chemicals you can say. Okay. So basically the jewelers use the aqua regia because the aqua regia or the nitric hydrochloric acid has the capacity to dissolve the gold in it. Okay. And thereafter, this dissolved gold could be used for various other purposes. All right. Thereafter, we have another one which is zinc oxide. It is used in sunscreen lotion. Okay. Basically, it is a sun cream lotion. Sun cream lotions. Okay. Thereafter, the cigarette filters and the ceramic industry. And if I found cigarette, then I will give you one very good advice, which is smoking is dangerous to health. Remember it. Smoking is dangerous to health. Okay. So if any one of you is smoking, quit that. All right. So zinc oxide, it is basically used for sun cream lotions, cigarette filters, and ceramic industries. And basically, it is my advice to the girls. If you are using the sun cream, you also stop it because it is not so good for your skin because it having the various chemicals. Okay. Thereafter, now we have the sodium bicarbonate or potassium bicarbonate. They are used as fire extinguisher. Okay. And wait, sodium bicarbonate is also used at one other place, which we have covered in this lecture. So I'm giving you 10 seconds to think about it. Then I will provide you answer. Your time starts now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Time's up. So if you were studying in this lecture carefully, you know that sodium bicarbonate is basically used for baking soda. Okay. So the baking soda, or you can say sodium bicarbonate particularly, is also used as fire extinguisher. Okay. So students, in this lecture, we have covered the several part. In the next lecture, we will continue with the chemistry part and we will try to finish the general science section. Till then, I want you all to revise all the facts we have discussed in this lecture so that you will be able to grasp the facts which we will discover in the next lecture. With this note, just end the session and thank you.